Hey y'all, welcome back to Confederate Shop's YouTube channel. So, I have a subject that is controversial. As always, that's my life when it comes to this subject, and that's okay. I don't mind. But I hear this all the time in my comments. I hear it. I've had people say it in the store. If the South would have won, if the Confederacy would have been established as a nation, slavery would still exist today. This idea is simply preposterous, and I say it's preposterous based on historical evidence during the war and evidence after the war. So hear me out on this before you come to any conclusion. Number one, Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy, the one they claim is fighting to preserve slavery indefinitely for the Confederacy, said in his private correspondence during the war that regardless of the outcome of the war, slavery would not survive. Tell me, why would he say that? Why would he make such a claim and have such a belief if he was trying to perpetuate slavery indefinitely? Number two, look at the Confederate Constitution. Now, there was a proposed amendment by the federal government to the U.S. Constitution prior to the war at the outbreak of secession, and it was the Corwin Amendment. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, but if you've never heard of the Corwin Amendment, it's something you need to research. What it was a Northern proposed measure to try to get the Southern states back into the Union. And what it said was that slavery would be permanently protected within the U.S. Constitution if the Southern states would simply rejoin the Union. Now, the interesting thing about this proposed amendment was that it was supported and passed by both the House and the Senate, and it was supported by the majority of Northern states. It would have been solidified within the U.S. Constitution had the Southern states simply rejoined the Union. Of course, they didn't, because obviously there were other issues involved within secession and the reason why they seceded. But tell me this, why didn't the Confederate Constitution make such a proposal? Why didn't they make such an amendment within their Constitution? In fact, the only thing the Confederate Constitution mentioned when it came to the institution of slavery was that the importation of slaves is explicitly outlawed within the Confederacy. It doesn't sound like a nation that's trying to perpetuate slavery indefinitely. So you also look at the evidences we have after the war. Now, why does this have anything to do with what I'm talking about? Well, there were other nations that had slavery after the war between the states. Had the Confederacy lived, I think the same scenario would have happened as happened with these other nations. There were slaves in Central and South America. The institution was thriving in those nations in South America. They were actually barred from international trade and incentivized by other nations to do away with the institution if they wanted to trade internationally. The same thing would have happened to the South. Now, also consider the technological advancements in the South, even during and before the war, that would have made slavery obsolete. Southerners were not stupid people. They were attuned to making money off their crops. They were attuned to things like fertilizer and advancements in raising crops and harvesting crops. And Eli Whitney's cotton gin was right around the corner, as were other technological advancements. This would have made slavery obsolete to the plantation owner, to the South in general. All of these things suggest that slavery would not have survived probably much past the year 1900, and definitely not into the 20th and 21st century. So the next time someone says this, just remember these historical facts. So I wanted to address this and let y'all know. I know this will probably be controversial, but that's okay. I appreciate everyone's support here on my YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. If you're not following our Confederate Shop newsletter, it's a once-a-week publication I put out. Go to our website, scroll to the bottom of the page, and enter your email there, and you'll receive updates from us regularly, sales and specials. But thank you all very much. Folks, have a good day.